Hello everyone, how's it going? It is market open 12/21/20. Anyway, we got three stocks to watch. These are all first day, except for one. We got two first day stocks and one second day stock. This one's the best one. EYEG up the most, roughly 100%. A little bit of a concern, but we've already traded a lot more volume than previous days, so there's likely not going to be as much selling pressure, although this day still has a lot of shares that we haven't reached. Let me try to get it back right here. We don't see anything. I don't see anything. Maybe inverse head and shoulders if it keeps trading a certain way. AIM is the next stock, not up very much, only 20%. Seems to be having a bit of a panic. This is a bad long-term chart because there's a lot of volume traded here, so this would actually push this towards a short rather than a buy. And CRBP is looking to do the same. This one's pretty bad too because it's traded a lot of volume, especially yesterday. Maybe it's not able to hold its momentum anymore and it's downtrending. That's all I got. NXTD keeps running, which is cool. Although I just wouldn't trade it anymore. I don't like the way it is anymore. It can keep going. I'm just not gonna trade it. Yeah, just simply not gonna trade it. But it's very impressive to see how far it has continued to go. Okay, it is 9:42 a.m. EYEG is doing its first shoulder. Maybe it can make some kind of inverse head and shoulder setup. AIM is looking like a really juicy stock to short. The only problem is that it doesn't have that much range. I mean, it's at 228, it can drop to 2, right? But that's only 10%. So there's not much range in this guy to go short. The short would be based off of this level at 232. It broke out of it. It tried to come back here. It failed. It could still try to go back to 232, and I would risk it off of 232. Let's see if it's gonna. You see, it's just that the range is tight. I would like to really get in one of these stocks that does an all-day fade. If it goes at 232, it's not even a confirmed breakdown if it holds it and fails, because it's only traded like a few candles. It's just looking like a nice short. CRBP is falling. This is the second day, so I understand why. I guess it's losing its momentum. No true setups right now. EYEG, this could be a potential shoulder. If it drops more, makes a head and then a shoulder, if I get that opportunity, that would be nice. A lot of these stocks, they open kind of down. SPY had a gap down today, so that kind of explains the reason why they all open down, perhaps. Maybe, but it also had a nice spike too, so you always have to take that into consideration. But right now, no true setups. Maybe this guy can make the inverse head and shoulders. We'll see. Okay, it is 9:51 a.m. EYEG. Still could fail, but it looks like it might be making a head for an inverse head and shoulder setup. Potentially, I guess if you wanted to go long here, guessing it would make a shoulder, you would risk off of this wick right here at 701. You'd have to be quick though. If this guy drops too much, it won't be an inverse head and shoulders. So we have to take all these things into consideration. I'm just noting that it might form. It could still fail. AIM did a nice drop. It kind of played off of this level of 232 that I mentioned earlier. Pretty nice short. I mean, it would have dropped here like roughly 15 cents. That's almost 10%. And it could still fade more. I mean, it could fade into 2. Pretty much no more setup here, unless this would potentially spike and then risk off of this level again. but it might also make an inverse head and shoulders, although it's not the best chart. Ideally, it's not up that much to really take those patterns into consideration, although the volume is good. We'll keep looking to see what this guy does, but I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, it could do whatever it wants, but I wouldn't want to short this unless it were to bounce off of this level of resistance, and then we would have support right here, which would be kind of bad. But the idea is that this guy fades the rest of the day, but once again, there's not much range, so not the best setup. But I definitely want to get, as I mentioned already, want to get a lot better to the point that I'm shorting a lot of these stocks that, you know, spike pretty terribly and fade the rest of the day, risk off of risk off of it making a higher high or higher low, depending on how the chart looks. This guy might be dropping too much for me to consider inverse head and shoulders. It would really have to like round off right about this level. If it were to drop more, that would be too much. Okay, it is 10:02 a.m. EYEG it's taking, I mean, it could still do it, but it's taking a damn long time. This is going to be a very large head if it makes a inverse head and shoulders. Who knows what the shoulder will be if it actually spikes up there. I've considered actually buying here, you know, and selling it and selling it with the expectation of it forming the shoulder to then play off the other setup, but it's never really given me a big wick to risk off of, so that's mainly the reason why I haven't bought it. And it's now just taking too long. I mean, it could still do it, it could fall, it could consolidate, continue consolidating here. Volume is fading, so we'll just continue to look. WBAI and CCRC I just recently added. They were up earlier in the day. I just didn't like them when they were like this. It didn't have much volume. So now we're going to take a look at these two and see if there's any setups that I want to trade off of. AIM is looking like maybe it'll make a pathetic inverse head and shoulders off the 225 level. That actually wouldn't be too bad in terms of a short to risk off of that 225, because we have it as resistance here, resistance here. It would be hard for it to break past this level. It can still do it. The problem again with this stock is that there just isn't much range for profits. So yeah, we'll keep looking. EYEG looking disappointing. It could still do it. I might not even trade it if it doesn't now, just because of the way it's trading. We have two other stocks that seem to be more volatile. Right now, no clear setups that I want to trade. Okay, it is 10:07. It's only been a few minutes. I just wanted to note that AIM might be doing an inverse head and shoulders here. I just wouldn't really want to trade this, even though it is a first day. It's just not a very good chart, a long-term chart. There could be bag holders selling into every bit of action here just because of the fact that it's just a bad long-term chart. It could still do it, and it could definitely squeeze some shorts. If I can short here on E-Trade, you know, that means this stock is readily available for shorting. It is in New York. I believe that's a New York Stock Exchange stock because it has the A. CCRC, I don't really know how to trade that. I'm not going to trade that. WBAI, I'm not going to trade that either. That's just random spaghetti monster again. We'll see if this guy can do the inverse head and shoulders, and maybe I can consider shorting it. Maybe once the pattern is done, if it does it. I mean, for all you know, this might be all it can spike, or it can go up to here, or it can try higher, maybe even here. But that would be great to risk off of shorting at 232 again. And if it makes a higher low, maybe I have to take that into consideration. I could go long this stock back here, but I just don't like how it's not up very much on the day, and I don't like the long-term chart. No, it's EYEG. This one failed. Shoulder never made the head. It failed right here. Never curved the back. You might say, oh well, maybe it's making the head now. It could, but you know, that's to be determined. Really no setups right now, although AIM is the most interesting one of them all. Even though it doesn't trade very much, that's also good in terms of risk, not just reward. The fact that it can't move so much means I can't lose too much either. And XTD made a nice head and shoulders. I saw this a few times. It's not just nice because it looks clean on the chart, but it's also nice because it cracked the neckline, roughly 147. Right, it tried to bounce back actually here once it cracked it. It failed. Dropped to 141, so maybe a short at 152 cover here in the 140s. The problem is that, as you can tell, it's only 10 cents. It is more significant because it's a $1.50 stock, but not much range, although I probably would have liked trading this just because it's nice and clean, just to get some practice. You know, not really wanting to trade these guys that are volatile spaghetti monsters. No true setups right now. I'll keep looking. It's already 10:10 a.m. Okay, it is 10:20 a.m. Mr. Spaghetti Monster here looks like it might try inverse head and shoulders. It might fail, but I have to now take into consideration that the overall markets are really taking a dump. Let's do a one-day chart. I mean, it had a nice bounce back, right? But now it's heading down to this level again. It might even crack the lows if it might have done it already, just slightly. It's trying to bounce back from that level, which would be nice, but it's still down much on the day, 1.85%. It's pretty big in terms of the overall markets, especially considering that it's falling from the highs right here in the 370s. So we'll take a look. It looks like all the big stocks seem to be affected today. That's just what happens with it. Anyway, it might try to bounce off of this level. Maybe just cracked it a little. Maybe it'll keep dropping. I'm not sure. But I have to take that into consideration because all of the long setups are not going to be so good anymore. Maybe if the markets were up 1.67%, Mr. Spaghetti Monster here would spike and make another shoulder. Nothing yet. EYEG, just disappointing. Up 70%, just disappointing. AIM actually cracked the level here at 216. Just to summarize it, I pretty much missed shorting here, risking it off of this range here at 232. Broke the level, tried to come back roughly around here with these wicks. It failed. Broke this level right here at 224, pretty bearish. Dropped the 216, spiked again, but it couldn't break off of this level now. Resistance at 224, made a lower high right here, broke the low here. Now looks like it might try to put up a fight, or it might fail again and continue fading. And that's just to summarize it, really a good short right here, risking it off of the 232 range. I mean, it did get above it a little bit. I guess the idea would have been to short it on the downside, especially into these wicks. Never really came back to that level and try to break it unless you count these wicks. Just a very nice setup, risking it off at 232, failed. Broke this level here in the downtrend. You know, I already explained it already. Very nice setup. Probably not going to trade today. It's already 10:23. Overall markets are down enough to be cautious about going long. We'll see. If they're selecting the excellent, perfect, beautiful setup, I'll trade it. Otherwise, it's probably going to be no trades today. Okay, it is 10:32 a.m. LKNCY. I call it a symmetrical triangle. Michael Good brought this up in the chat, called it a pendant. I mean, fine. Won't trade this because it's already on the third day. For a long setup, markets are down. The number 5 pattern wouldn't be too bad, but if the markets are down, it might just keep dropping, you know. And it's already 10:32. I won't trade this guy at all. Just wanted to note that somebody calls this, what I see, a symmetrical triangle, as something else, a pendant. I'll probably just do a recap and see what it does later in the day. It's 10:32, so really You guys good? It's 10:33 now. I'll probably just look till 10 o'clock, and then after that I'm just off to my business. Just no setups today. Mr. Spaghetti chart is trying to do an inverse head and shoulders, but I didn't like how this range was much lower than here, because that could act as a level of resistance, to which it didn't actually prove itself to be true. It just broke past that level. Pretty nice, I think. We'll see how high it goes, or maybe that's the most he can do, get to the neckline of the right shoulder. EYEG looking depressing. AIM might try to bounce, maybe it'll round off and break again, or it might just consolidate and do whatever it wants. Probably no trades today, but I would like to see what happens here, as well as this ugly spaghetti monster inverse head and shoulders. Hello, how's it going? It is 1:33 p.m. Yeah, I've been working on my business, doing other stuff. I'm just gonna do a recap, and I'm gonna call it off right here. Maybe something will happen by 4 p.m. I doubt it. I don't want to trade that late. I just want to focus on my trading, you know, early in the morning, before, ideally before 11 a.m. So let's just go over the stocks. We have EYEG. This was the failed inverse head and shoulders. This was the head that never formed, dropped. I said, okay, maybe it could do it. No, didn't do it right. It never really did it. It cracked this level right here, 6, which was pretty significant. Continued the lead to this downtrend. Just not a tradable setup. And this was significant because it was also support right here. Yeah, just a fader. Not shortable on E-Trade. It was never shortable on E-Trade, so that's how it is with that. Mr. Spaghetti inverse head and shoulders, I think it was here. It actually did work out, just not very nicely. Very sketchy. Shoulder was higher here than here, so I didn't trade it, and I don't feel bad for not trading that. That's just totally fine. It did a very nice spike, though. It's faded ever since. I don't know if this guy, these two like to switch around. I don't know if this one is shortable. It's not shortable. But yeah, it was a pretty impressive move nonetheless. AIM, this was the fader. 232 was the level right here. It looks like it's slowly trying to come back. Yeah, it was just a quick short. Nothing serious, not much range. LKNCY, what happened to the symmetrical triangle, or the pendant, as Michael Good calls it? It faded. It fell. So it might have been just because of the fact that it just had all these variables against it. Sketchy OTC. Not really the best news to be up over the third day. Okay, volume has dried up. Just all these negative things made a symmetrical triangle. Maybe it went down for that reason. Maybe these symmetrical triangles vary greatly on the other factors besides the pattern itself, on whether it's going to go down like here, maybe go up. That could be something I'll learn from it. NXTD is up 3%. It actually was down a bunch after the head and shoulders. It dropped pretty harshly. Still impressive. I'm actually going to update the screenshot, so all you do is press the print screen button on your computer, and I'm going to go to the previous NXTD screenshot. There we go. Control V, updates, Control S, save, and that's it. You update your chart just like that, and you're completely done. Still nice to watch. And SPY, the overall markets are still down more than 1%, although it has kind of dropped even more. It's still pretty bad. I think it affected today's stocks, but you know, this thing could have still a few hours left, but this thing could be way worse than what it is right now. That's all I got. No trading today. No patterns that I really missed. No, I think I did pretty well. Maybe a 6.5 to 7 out of 10, or maybe an 8. I just didn't do anything really bad. I didn't miss any setups, except for, I guess, AIM, the shorts. I guess I'll knock it down to maybe 6.5 or 7 out of 10 for missing that shorts. But otherwise, yeah, pretty good day. No trades, and that's all I got. Hope you have a good one.